So let's start laying down on our backs first, just to kind of get a sense of how our bodies feel laying flat, which means that you're just going to be an observer of your body first. So you're not going to try to make anything specifically correct. And I want you to get a sense of, do your hips feel even? Maybe they feel one higher than the other. Do your legs feel like they're hitting the ground similarly, or does one feel like it's turned out a little more? Maybe one leg feels a little longer. Just those kinds of things. And how your shoulder blades feel on the ground, right to left. If it feels like one is really touching the ground differently than the other, I just want you to kind of observe that, because we're going to go back to that place again later and kind of see what we feel again. So then from there, I want everybody to just bend your knees and put your feet flat on the ground. And I want the legs about hip distance apart. And first, I just want a nice inhale through the nose, thinking about expanding the rib cage three-dimensionally. And then exhaling and letting all the air out. When you think all the air is out, see if you can get a little more air out. And do that again. Inhale and exhale. See if on your exhale you can let the air come out, and then find your abdominals to push the rest of the air out. So don't find your abdominals at the very beginning of the exhale, find it toward the end of the exhale. So inhale, fill up the rib cage, fill up the collarbones, fill up the armpits. And then exhale, let the air start to come out, and then find those abs. And release that. So I want to do the same thing with the hands interlaced, fingers and hands around the head. Make sure your hands are not holding your neck, that they're holding your head. The elbows are up off the floor a little bit, so that my arms are making a cradle for my head. I'm going to now do a partial curl up on that exhale. So inhale, and on the exhale, I start to let the air out. My abs pull in. My rib cage goes into the ground and it floats my head up. Really make contact with the back ribs into the ground. Coming down on the inhale. And then exhale. And again, trying really to stay out of the neck muscles. Inhale. And exhale. Rib cage into the floor. Neck relaxed. And one more. Inhale. And exhale. And release that all the way back down. Take those hands off the back of the head, place them back down by your sides. We're going to take the right leg and bring it into tabletop position. So when I say tabletop, I'm looking kind of for a 90-degree thigh to body and a 90-degree shin bone to thigh. Okay, so right about there. So I want you to feel that your abdominals are pulling in towards your low back just a little bit to support the weight of this leg. Okay, so you can put your hands on your abs so you can kind of feel that. I don't want you to tuck your tailbone to do it though. And I don't want you to move the spine into the ground to do it. I want you to just feel like you're a sandwich. You're pressing your abs into your spine. Your spine's not really moving. And now on an inhale, we're going to stretch the leg out long on a diagonal without letting those abs go. And on the exhale, fold it back in. Find those abs at the end. Really use them as you deepen your hip crease. And again, inhale. And then exhale. And one more with this leg. Inhale. And exhale. And then place that leg back down. Go ahead and fold your left leg up. And same thing, we want to feel the crease of the hip so that your pelvis is nice and flat, not curled under. The abs supported into the spine, shoulders and collarbones nice and broad. And then inhale as you stretch the leg out. And then exhale, find the crease in the hip. Trying not to move the pelvis at all. Again, inhale, reach it away, relax neck, relax shoulders. Exhale, feel the abs keeping the support in the lumbar spine and in the pelvis. One more. Inhale, reach it away. And exhale, pelvis stays absolutely still. Find the abs at the end. And release that back down. We're going to do a roll up, but it's going to be a little bit of a different kind of a roll up. So let's just take the legs in and rock yourself up to sitting first, because I want to make sure your spine is articulating before we attempt our roll up. So we're going to take our hands behind our thighs and stretch the legs out in front of you, reaching the heels. And let the legs pull your arms a little bit. It's going to pull your shoulders forward a little bit and really stretch them. And lift your spine up tall at the same time. So you're getting a little pull through the traps, maybe a little bit. Yeah, and reaching those heels. And then we're going to keep the arms straight. We're going to relax the feet, bend the knees, and start to lean backward. Keep hold of those legs, Missy. Don't just touch them, but actually lean back away from them. So my elbows stay straight. Yep, there you go. And I'm rolling backward. Yep, I'm leaning. It's pulling through my arms. I'm curling my tailbone because I have to until my low back, put the feet on the ground if possible, and rounding the low back to touch it toward the ground. Now to come back up, I push my heels out. It pulls through my arms. Yep. And I sit up tall and really reach those heels. Get your spine long. That's it. Keep those arms holding onto your legs. And then again, relax your ankles and start to lean it back and roll backward. Trying to get my lumbar spine, my lower back to find the ground here. So I'm not on my sits bones. I'm curled back. Yeah, trying to counterbalance that. It's going to pull through your arms quite a bit. And again, pull the heels. The heels bring me up, and I sit up really, really tall, pushing the heels out. And then relax the feet, lean backward first, and then curl the tail, let the head come forward, pull through the arms. And we should be getting a nice contact of the low back now. Yep, trying to get those feet down on the ground so that they're not up in the air. Put the feet on the floor. Yeah, there you go. So then lean backward. That's it. Now, go ahead and roll it back down, all the way down, and straighten the legs up. Flex your feet. Hug your midline, legs together, arms up to the ceiling. We're going to do a roll up, and I want you to feel similar to how you just did. So we're going to start by inhaling, lifting the head, rib cage into the ground. On the exhale, find the abs. Exhale, find those abs. Reach it over your own legs. Good. On the inhale, start to roll back. Tailbone curls under. You have to find that lumbar spine here. Exhale. Place the rib cage all the way back down. And again, inhale, head and shoulders come up, ribs down. Exhale, abs continue to lift and lengthen the spine. And coming back down, inhale, curling the tail, reaching the heels in opposition. Exhale, and all the way back down. And again, inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then inhale back and exhale, bring the arms up last time. And inhale coming up, rib cage into the ground. Exhale, find those abs, crown of the head reaching over. And inhale coming back. Imprint the low back, reach the heels, exhale coming all the way back down. Great, let's bend the right knee in. Just give it a pull toward you. We're going to bend the left leg and put the foot flat on the ground. Reach that leg up to the ceiling and place your arms down to the sides. Get a really wide chest, wide collarbone, some contact of the triceps into the ground. It doesn't matter if your leg is all the way straight. It could be slightly bent. We're going to bring that leg across the body so that it is a little bit past my opposite shoulder, and I'm squeezing my inner thighs together. And then bring it back to the center. I'm going to bring the leg away from the body. I'm not letting my hips rock over to that side. I'm keeping my opposite side really imprinted into the ground and my opposite shoulder. And bring the leg back up using the abs. And bring it across. Don't forget to use your breath. Inhale as you reach across. Exhale, bring it back up. Inhale as it goes out. Exhale, bring it back in. Really find those abs, stabilize that pelvis. Inhale, reach it across. Exhale, bring it back up. Inhale, reach it out. And exhale, bring it back in, and go ahead and place that leg back down. Take the other leg in, pull it in, stretch the bottom leg all the way out so you feel the opposition of the two legs going away from each other. Then bend the bottom leg up, straighten the top leg all the way up. Doesn't have to be all the way straight because I don't want you really gripping in the quad and having to do a bunch of work just to get your leg up to the ceiling. So stabilize your upper body and go ahead and take it across on an inhale. Feel those inner thighs squeezing together. Exhale, abs, pull the leg back up. Inhale, reach it away. Keep the opposite side of the pelvis really secure to the floor. Exhale, feel the inner thigh, bring it back up. And again, inhale, cross. Is that bottom leg moving? I hope not. And exhale, bring it back up. And inhale, take it out, keeping that bottom leg still. And exhale, find just that leg. Again, inhale, relax neck. Exhale, bring it back up and out to the side. Inhale, bringing it out. Feel the opposite side of the abs. Exhale, bring it back in, and then relax that. Take both legs and let's roll up for roll like a ball. So let's bring the feet to a Pilates V. So heels are together, toes are a little bit apart. I'm going to put my hands underneath my thighs, up at my knees. My elbows are nice and broad. I'm going to start by putting my feet flat and trying to pull myself up to sit up really tall, getting way up on those sits bones. So right now I'm not in roll like a ball position. I'm trying to lift my knees upward so that my hip crease is super deep, trying to lift up my body. Right. Now, as long as you feel right now, we're going to keep that length. So I want you to squeeze under your bottom a little bit where your sits bones are. And then I want you to tilt your tailbone backward a little bit. So you're going away from your legs, but we're not sinking down. We're trying to keep our head up in this space up here so that we're not really getting shorter, we're getting longer and a little curved. Now, start to lean the whole thing backward just a little bit so that your feet can come up off the ground. Make sure you didn't bring your body toward your feet to come up, but that you went away from your feet to come up. And now, to roll backward on an inhale, curl your tailbone even more so it tilts you over. Inhale, exhale, come right back up. That's it. And again, inhale, try to keep that shape of that ball. Elbows wide, collarbones wide. Inhale as you go back. Exhale as you come up. And again, keep the heels together and coming back up. Really feel that round, articulate spine. And up. And one more like that. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, coming back up. Good. Let's go back down. We're going to take both hands to the right leg. My right hand goes to the right ankle, left hand to the shin bone. I curl myself up into single leg stretch position. My rib cage is into the ground. I stretch my other leg out long. So I don't want it too high and I don't want it too low where it arches you, kind of at a diagonal. But feel the two legs pulling away from each other. And then change to the other leg. Take a nice big inhale, reach the legs. And then on an exhale, change, pull the two legs away from each other. And again, inhale like you're moving through taffy. And then exhale, deepen the abs, keep those ribs into the ground. Again, inhale, pull left hand to the left ankle. Exhale, pull right hand to the right ankle. And again, inhale, pull. And exhale, pull. Both legs in. Go ahead and rest your neck. And coming back. We're going to take our two hands behind the head. Elbows up in that cradle again. Curl yourself up. Find that connection to the rib cage. Bring both legs up to the ceiling. Hug your inner thighs together. And now inhale, Feel the back ribs make better contact to the ground. Exhale, pull the legs back up, feeling your abs do it. Don't lift your head up and down. Inhale, keep the head right where it is. And exhale, lower abs, pull, 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 pull. Relax the neck. Inhale, head weight into your arms. Exhale, abs, pull the legs back in. One more. Inhale, reach, inner thighs together. Exhale, bring it all the way back up. Bring those legs back in. Give them a pull toward your shoulders, trying to find the hip space. Good, and rock yourself back up. Let's do spine stretch. So legs apart, about the distance of your mat, if you have a mat or an imaginary mat. Toes are up to the ceiling. I don't want you to push your knees down and squeeze your quads. I want your heels on the ground. And if that means that your knees bend slightly, that's what it means. If you can't sit up straight, bend your knees a little bit more or stick something under there and get up a little higher. So I want you to feel comfortable on your hips, not like you're having to work hard in your hip flexors to be there, right? So whatever that looks like for you to be there. So arms out in front of you. In this case, we're going to bring the shoulders, the arm bones back into the body because I want the spine to be rounding, not the shoulders to be rounding. So we inhale at the top. We exhale, we go over. I inhale, I come back up. I exhale, I reach over like I'm really trying to stretch my spine. And inhale, stack the spine. And exhale, lengthen. Reach, 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 reach. And one more. Inhale, stack the spine up. And exhale, reach it all the way back down. And relax that back. Going back down onto the ground. Arms down long by your sides, legs in toward your body. Take both legs up to the ceiling. Now, again, I don't want them all the way straight in tight quads. I want a slight bend, and I want you to pull your inner thighs together. Don't confuse pulling your knees together with pulling your inner thighs together. We need kind of the back of your inner thighs coming together more than the front. So think about tying the back of your inner thighs together. Open those shoulders, triceps grounded. We're going to take both legs over to the right on an inhale. All the weight goes on the right hip. The left hip comes off the ground, but my left rib cage and chest stay open. Exhale, pull the legs back up. Other side. Inhale, reach those legs out long. This hip comes up. Exhale, pull it back up to the center. And inhale, go onto one hip. Both legs stay the same length. Exhale, use the abs to draw the pelvis back. And inhale, ground your opposite side and neck. And exhale, bring it back up and rest it. Go ahead and rock yourself back up for saw. So legs out back where they just were for spine stretch, about mat distance apart. Get up in that pelvis. We're going to bring the arms out to the sides of you. I like to feel that my fingers that are representing where my ears are. So not arms behind your ears, not arms in front of your ears, but straight out your ears. Okay, tall spine. And I'm going to rotate my spine to the right. So when I rotate it, my arms are still to the sides, both shoulders. I should look exactly the same as I did when I was here. Now, one arm goes in front, one arm goes in back. I do a spine stretch. Reach that hand across past the baby toe. The other arm reaches in the opposite direction. And then I come back up to center. I rotate to the left. I still look exactly the same across. Take one arm forward, one arm back, and reach that finger across your baby toe. Spine stretch. Really stretch your spine, but rotate it. And come back up to center. Rotate to the right. And one hand behind, one hand forward, stretch it up, pull that back arm up to the ceiling. Feel your triceps. And come back up. And rotate to the left. Take that pinky to your baby toe, other hand behind you, palm up. And come back to the center. One more set. Rotate to the right. And reach it over. Feel those arms pulling apart. And back up. And rotate to the left. Get taller. Use your breath. Exhale, reach it over and come back up. Good. Let's turn over onto our stomach and do a little swan. So kind of a baby swan. So forehead is down on the table. My legs are together. Again, the back of my inner thighs are hugging together. And my hands are right underneath my shoulders. Organize your arms so that your shoulder is up and back. Don't let that shoulder roll forward interiorly. Lift it up and back and the head down. So I want you to feel like you have a marble under your nose and slide the marble out on the ground until the marble starts to come off the ground. Then find the pressure through the heel of the hand. The shoulders are back and start to come up a little, but more importantly, pull yourself forward like your rib cage is trying to slide forward more toward your head, and then come all the way back down. And again, slide the marble out with your nose. Start to organize your shoulders, push through the heel of the hand. Do not squeeze your glutes, right? And then pull your rib cage out and forward. So I'm trying to draw my ribs that way toward my head. As I pull my arms backward, you should feel your triceps a bit. You should feel the muscles in the lower trapezius back here and some bending in the upper back and coming back down. And again, start with the nose. Let the nose push the marble. Organize the shoulders, pressing through. Really drag that rib cage out. Be careful not to squeeze your glutes, because if you squeeze your glutes, you're going to do your low back. So bring those ribs out and forward. Open the collarbones. And then come all the way back in. Let's turn back over onto our back. Do some shoulder bridge. So back to your anchor here with those triceps. Let's put the feet together this time, knees together. And you don't want to have your feet too close to you where your knees are going to go out. You don't want them too far away where you can't press your feet. You want them just in the exact right place. Legs together. And I want you first just to find where your hip joint bends. Press through your feet and lift your hip joints up in the air. And then find that bend in the hip and bring your hips back down. We're keeping the inner thighs together, which is what makes this a little bit more challenging. And again, lift the hips up in the air and bring it back down. Now, if it feels like hard to do, think of your knees going away from you a little bit, because you have to make space for the hip to come up. Knees away from you a bit, press your triceps down into the ground, and then come back. And again, press through the feet. Make sure that you don't have a favorite foot that you are pushing with, that you're pushing with both, and bring it back down. Now I want to come down with articulation. So press through the feet, hug those inner thighs, open the chest, and now try to go one vertebra at a time on the way down using your breath. Each one, really visualize each vertebra having a turn until you get all the way to the tail. And again, press through the feet, lift the hips up, and then tilt the pelvis one vertebra at a time as you come all the way back down. Last time. Press through the feet, knees go out, chest is open, and then roll through the spine one vertebra at a time and all the way back down. On our side for a side kick. So laying on one side, if you want to put a pillow here, you're welcome to. You can put your arm like this, right? You can put your arm like that, whatever is going to feel best for your neck. So legs go slightly in front. As if I was in the middle of my mat, my legs are at the angle of the corner of my mat in front of me. So make sure that your body's not in a round position, but that your spine is straight and your legs are angled going forward a bit. So my spine is in a long straight line. Now, important, this front arm, that this pressure here helps remind me to keep the organization of this shoulder so that I don't let it climb up into my ear. So I'm keeping this up and back, right? Now, Abs pulling into my low back, but without moving my low back. Pull them into my low back, right? So I should feel like I just got longer and thinner, like a long string bean, right? Now, take your top leg and lift it up no higher than your hip. We're going to swing that leg to the front and flex the foot. Swing it front, flex the foot, and then point the foot and swing it back. So it's hard not to do all this rocking around. So you have to regulate how high can you swing it. Swing it front and swing it back. Yep. Now try not to hold. Find momentum. Heel, swing it forward and then point and swing it back. Yep. And swing it forward and point and swing it back. Trying to keep that shoulder where it is. And again, flex, swing it forward and then point and swing it back. Find your glute when you get back there. And again, swing it forward and point and swing it back. And bring that back down. Nice. Take that top leg, lift it up again, just where it is. We're going to circle that leg. I want the circle to be about the size of a soccer ball. Yeah, there you go. But I'm not moving my hips at all. I'm literally just moving my leg. Yes. And then reverse that circle. And again, reminder of that top shoulder. Yeah, long leg. And relax that. Take both legs up off the ground. You have to push a little bit with your front hand. Squeeze those legs together and relax it back down. And rest. We're going to go on our stomach and do a grasshopper because I like to do that in between. So my forehead is on my hands. My shoulders are away from my ears and back. I'm going to lift both legs up off the ground, inner thighs hug together, and I'm going to beat my inner thighs together, really tiny little fast beats, keeping my abs pulled in. Keep beating, go faster, keep beating, relax your neck, beat. Keep going. And relax it back down. And now we're going to go to the other side. You guys can roll, but I'm going to turn so you can see me. So, laying on the other side. Making sure your head and neck feel like they're good. Take your legs to the front diagonal. Yep. Good. Hand in front. And we're going to take the top leg and lift it up even with the height of the hip. Organize that top shoulder and flex the foot, swing it forward and flex, swing it forward and then point and pull it back. And yeah, figure out how far back can you go without having to collapse here, keeping all that support. And again, flex and reach it and then point, keeping that shoulder, squeezing that glute when you get back there. And again, flex and reach and point. Good. Yeah, feel that the back of your leg is moving that leg backward. And again, flex and reach and point and pull it backward. And one more time, flex and reach and point and pull it backward and bring it back on top of the other leg. Lift it up even with the height of your hip again and a circle, trying to articulate a nice circle of the femur and the leg, but not the pelvis. Right? Keeping this very still. This is my difficult side. And reverse it. Yep, keeping that shoulder out of the picture. And one more. I had to concentrate on that side. Okay, so let's go back onto the stomach and do a little bit of, I guess it would be considered where Pilates swimming is, but it's more like a Feldenkrais X. So we're going to go on our stomach. Arms and legs are out in the letter-shaped X. My forehead is down. I'm going to lengthen my right arm and my left leg away from each other and lift my head just a little bit off the ground so I'm looking down at the floor. But mostly I'm pulling my legs and arm away from each other. And then place it back down. And the other side, lengthen the arm and leg like someone's pulling them first. And then float them up and float your head just a little. And coming back down. It's important you don't feel anything crunch in your back. Lengthen the arm and leg opposite and then float. So when I float, I'm not pulling up, I'm reaching out, which is different. And reach it back down. And the opposite side, lengthen the arm and leg, float them up. Feel how the front of you goes down a little to let the arm and leg go up and come back. And last time, lengthen and float. Feel like they're pulling and relax it. And the other side, lengthen and float and all the way back down. Good. Let's come on up to sitting and do a little side bending. So tuck those legs in tight. Organize my shirt. Get your hands onto your shin bone. And I like to pull the legs nice and tight to me in this first one with the knees kind of angled forward. Yeah. And taking the top arm, the outside arm and bringing it up. So although we're stretching this, it's more, it's more important that this side is not crunching to stretch that. So I have this arm up, but I'm really focused on lengthening the opposite side up. Yeah. So now as I bend over to stretch more, I'm not going to crunch this, which means I really can't go over. I have to go kind of diagonal up. Yep. And feel like you are bringing your rib cage over toward the side where your knees are. Yeah. And then come back up. Let's put the hand and the elbow down on the ground so that they're in a line to my hip, and take your other arm over and make a nice arc. Yeah. So now I'm trying to get my crown of my head toward the floor and my opposite hip, that same hip down, so that I'm making this giant curve in my spine. Yeah. And then coming back up, you have to use your core. Yes. And grab on and up and over a bit, but without crunching that other side. Feel like you're lengthening. Find those abs that we found earlier, supporting the spine, getting more length. And then out to the side and hand down, elbow down, and find that curve. That's it. Allow the crown of the head to go toward the ground. Yep. See if you can get the arm to be part of the curve, not doing its own curve. So your arm might have to be a little more in front of you instead of back behind you so much. Yeah, so that shoulder blade can kind of open. And then come back up. Sit and hand on and lift up and over. Relaxed neck, relaxed shoulder. Good. And coming back up. Should start to be easier to be there now. And then hand and elbow down a bit and get that curve, the neck, the rib cage, the shoulder, and the hip reaching toward your heels. Good. And come back up. Good. Let's separate the legs. So now we're in a Z position instead of the mermaid position. So my knees are apart. Yeah. And I'm going to lean on my arm over here, way over. Yeah. And my other hand's going to be on my hip. And I'm going to push that hip forward. And it rotates me. And I'm going to continue to turn my head and bring my ribs around as well. And then to come back, I want that hip to come back. And it brings everything back. Yeah, like that. So it kind of spirals. So your hip comes up. That's it. And push it forward, the hip. And then rotate the rib cage. And then rotate the upper body. And then rotate the head. And then bring the hip back. And then the rib cage. And then the chest. And then the head. Yes, one more time. And hip forward. And then ribs come around. Chest comes around and head, and then hip back and ribs, upper body and head, and swing your legs around to the other side. Let's do the little mermaid first. So tuck the knees, tuck the feet in tight, grab on. Yeah, and then arm up to the ceiling. Good. Relax the opposite shoulder. That's it. And then we're reaching up and over to this side without crunching in the side. So this is my harder side because I'm a little short on my right side of my torso. So I have to really focus on not letting my ribs slide to the right to go to the left, but sliding my rib cage to the left. Yeah. So think of pulling your ribs counterintuitively. Yes. And then coming up, and then put your hand down and your elbow down, and then take your other arm up and over and get that length through the left side. Crown of the head over. Yeah. Feel that left hip reaching back toward your heels, and then coming back up. Find that middle. That's it. And then hand on, reach the arm up and reaching over. Relaxed shoulder, relaxed neck. Slide that rib cage over a little bit. Keep the length in the bottom side. And then come back up. And then place the hand down, place the elbow down, and then up and over. And feel there's an arc underneath you and a bigger arc over the top of you. Yeah. And come back up. Great. Let's separate the legs and lean into the other arm. Yeah. Hand on that hip just so that you can have some tactile sensation of what you're moving. And go ahead and push that hip into your hand, and then rotate the rib cage and rotate the upper body and rotate the head. And then coming back, hip starts, and then ribs and chest and head. And again, hip leads. Push the hip around. Feel how that rotates your abs, rotates your ribs, rotates everything around. And bring the hip back and to the center. Last time, hip comes forward. Rotate the hip, the waist, the chest, and the head. And coming back, bring the hip and the waist and the chest and the head. Good. Let's bring both legs out in front of you. We're going to do a little triceps. So bend your knees. Hands underneath you. I like the fingers pointing toward your feet on this, right? But if that doesn't work with your wrists, you can put them out to the side a little bit too. Okay, so we're just going to lift our bottom up. Yep, so not way up, just barely up off the ground. That's it. And most important is straighten your elbow. Straight. You think your elbow's straight? It's probably not straight. Yeah, there you go. You'll feel a big stretch in the biceps, right? And open your chest. Yes. And then push the heel of the hand into the ground more. Exactly. And then come on back down. Good. So I want that work to really be the back of the arm and a stretch across the front of the arm. Open the shoulders, right? If you feel like you don't know what to do with your neck, then that means that you're not pushing up high enough, right? That you're sinking a little bit and then your neck is caught. So we want to make sure that you're pushing up so that your neck is higher and free from your shoulder. So one more time. Put the hands behind you. Yeah. Lift your bottom up. Should be stronger this time because you could activate it. Push through, straighten those elbows all the way. Yeah. So open the shoulders more. There you go. Now don't look up at the ceiling. Look straight at that wall and try to lift your chest higher. Yes, right. So that is going to work your serratus muscles under your armpit, and then come on back down. Yeah, and relax that. Turn over onto your hands and knees. Place your shins just down onto the ground. If you can get your foot, we really want to be in this position not to have a whole bunch of space under that ankle. Trying to really get some contact of the top of the foot, and spread your hand, pinky and thumb kind of away from each other. Make sure that your wrist is directly below your shoulder and that the inner elbow isn't pushed forward, but that the inner crease of your elbow is more or less facing the other inner crease of the elbow so that you're not hyperextending. Now, when you're here, I want you first to sink your chest down with straight elbows. And then press through your arm like you're pushing the floor away to find the connection that you need. Now, if you notice when I did that, I didn't round my back because I'm moving my shoulders. I'm not moving my upper spine. And sink it down again, like your shoulder blades are coming toward each other just a little bit. And then press through the arm like you're pushing the floor away to find that connection to the muscles that you need for plank. Now, stay there. Find your abs. Now, this time, take your other leg back. So you might, whatever one you chose last time, use the other one. Stabilize that pelvis. Feel those abs lifting. Press through the hand. Join it with the other one, keeping that pelvis really, really still. And then bringing one leg back in and then the other leg back in. Go ahead to child's pose. I like to do child's pose with the knees together to stretch the lower spine. Drop the top of the head. So it's not as important that your arms are way out like this. Your elbows can be down. So let your elbows drop a little bit and drop the top of the head down. And now we're going to roll up in this position. So curl your tail under, drag your arms, and roll one vertebra at a time all the way back up. I want you to arch your back and come all the way forward to go back down again. And we're going to roll it again. Roll that spine. Feel your tailbone curl under. Drag your arms, roll it back up. And then arch, which means your belly goes to your thighs. Then your rib cage goes to your knees. And then your breastbone goes down. And then your head goes down. And last time, curl your tailbone under. Sit on those heels. And roll all the way back up. Great. And we're going to end there today. Hopefully that got your whole body feeling more energized.